Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 79 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. So, yay for day 79. And I was home from work trying to get ready to eating my dinner, and all of these ideas popped into my head for my video. So I'm like, okay, dinner on hold. I'm going to do my little video while I'm thinking about it. So I'm just thinking about some of my frustrations right now with things that are outside of my control, and having to make a lot of changes, revamping, revising how I have to do things. So I'm feeling like this year is a year to change, to redo, revamp how I do things, how I think about things, how I process things, how I deal with things. Because what I've been doing in the past isn't working, or because systems are being updated and changed, and so I'm no longer allowed or given access to do things the way that I used to do them. So I have to find new ways to do things. So it's just going to be a year for learning, a year for changing, a year for doing things completely differently. And then I kind of thought, how does that relate to my writing? Because I want to do my writing tonight, and I know I have to get up in like 6 hours, so I want to be in bed asleep and not having to write. And so, of course, that means I need to revamp my schedule, another thing that I keep talking about doing and haven't done. And I'm like, I need to, because it's not working the way that I'm doing things right now. So I need to change things so that it will work, because I know it can work. It has worked on the days that I've done it. So I need to be more consistent. So a year for consistency and for change all at the same time. Seemingly contradicting terms, but I think they work nonetheless. Anyway, so I went to do my writing tonight, and I realized that in recognizing God's hand in my life, that it requires me to kind of muddle through some of the stuff that I've written and try to figure out, because I have a lot of ideas at the end of the book, the sections that I just keep moving to the bottom because they didn't fit when I did my rewriting, and now I don't know what to do with them. So I have to go through and read them, and I'm like, oh, this is good, but I'm like, where does it fit? Where does it go? Which means I have to go back through the whole thing and do all, and it's work. And then I had to remind myself that yes, it's work, because this is what I want to do. This is what I want to get paid to do. So this is important for me to do. And it's not always going to be fun and happy. It's not always going to be emotional and crazy. Sometimes it's just going to be work. It's just going to be, nuts and bolts, that sort of a thing. Just kind of, where does this fit? Where does this not fit? Does this not work at all? That's cute. That's fun. It's going away. Whatever it is. It's kind of like the self-editing process, and then you send it out to the beta readers, and then you redo it again, and then you send it out to an editor, and then you publish it, I think is how that's supposed to work. That has not yet worked for me either. So I'm still trying to figure that out. So then I went to the Wise One, which I figured, I'm like, okay, new chapter. We can just start with something brand new, just type up a couple things and see what's going on. I have like a whole page or two of notes. And then, of course, as I start reading it, I'm like, this, not going to do this, going to do this, not going to do this, going to do this. I'm like, why am I not going to do this? Why am I doing this? What is this talking about? And then ping in my little brain, oh yeah, back in like when I looked for it, I wrote this whole, not this whole book, but I wrote a whole bunch of things with regard to this book that was several chapters, maybe not quite half a book, but quite a bit of the book. And chapter 13 was a revision of chapter 1 of the book initially, before I did the backstory, which is the first 12 chapters of the backstory book. And chapter 13 is now connecting to the original one that I started writing. And then I got through like 5 or 6 chapters of that before I did the backstory. So kind of my 2 books into one, because it's all the same character. It's just her backstory life to tell you why she does what she does when she's whatever. Anyway, because I had a couple people say, like, she wouldn't be that responsible or that grown up at that age unless something had happened to her previously. And I'm like, well, stuff did happen to her previously. And they're like, oh, good, then you need to tell that part of the story so it makes sense. And I was like, okay. Anyway, I think I've discussed that in other videos. And but the point was that as I went to do that, I realized that I had made some notes saying I don't want to do something with the story because I want to do something else with the story, because I think it makes more sense at this point with everything that I have rewritten. So then I had to go, I'm like, well, in which case I need to go find the old stuff so I can look at the old stuff so I can figure out what needs to change. And the reason, I guess, for me to do that is because I don't want to feel like I'm reinventing the wheel, and maybe I should, but I also, I think some of the stuff that I wrote or that I did was really good. So I think in the process of revamping my life and revamping my writing, it doesn't mean that I need to throw away everything and start everything brand new. I just need to go back through and figure out what worked, what still works, and what no longer works. And if it no longer works, how could I get rid of it? If it still works, let's keep it. and or if it no longer works, what do I need to do to make it work? Is there something I could do to make it work? Is it something I want to keep? Is it something I need to keep so that I need to make it work? Or is it something that I can just let go and slough off because it's not working and I don't need it? And I know there's things in my life that just aren't working that I can slough off because I don't need them anymore. And then there's some things that it's like, okay, I need to figure out how to do this because I need to be able to do these things. But the system that I had set up is not working any longer. So I need to develop or find a new system. So there's things in this book that I have written that I think, as far as events that happen in the book, they all still have to happen. So but I can't necessarily or won't necessarily use the same words, writing. Some of them I might just be like, this is really good, I'm going to keep it because it works. And some of them it's like, okay, I love the idea and I want these events to happen, but I don't like the conversation or I don't like the description. So these things need to be changed, they need to be revamped. And then when that happens, it's like, okay, change, revamp, and how do I fit it in to I think it's kind of like building something when you're using like wood and you have to like saw, you have to get the holes just right and you have to like sand stuff down to perfect it, to get it to just to fit and do the molding and things. And I think I'm kind of at a place like that with both of my books where I'm trying to look at what I have and figure out how to fit it together or figure out what extra pieces I have and is there a place that I can put them? Can I add something, fancy little design and make it work? Or is it just extra pieces that can go with something else, a different book, another story? Or is it something that's just, I don't need it, so I can, get rid of it, throw it away, give it to someone else, or, kind of like what my aunt used to say about stuff. She's like, I don't need to store stuff anymore, so just take a picture of it. And then I have pictures of like a shirt that I liked or some other thing, and then I don't have to buy it, I don't have to put it somewhere, I don't have to keep track of it. And then I'm not becoming a pack rat. And it's like, yeah, but where do you put all the pictures? And you put them on phones for so long or computer devices and eventually you whatever. So I don't know, if you put them in photo albums or something. I don't even know. But I used to take pictures all the time and I don't know what happened to all the pictures I used to take. And I don't know what to do with all the pictures that I currently take. I'm like, what am I going to do with that? So anyway, that's kind of random tangent. Sorry about that. Not sure how that's related other than, I've saved all of these things in my Word document. So every time I open it up and do something, I will change it to today's date, whatever that is. So I'll go in and do save as, and then the title, and then today's date. So I have like seriously 20 to 50 versions because and sometimes all I change is a couple little minor editing things, a word here, a sentence there, a period there, here or there. Sometimes I just read through it and I hit save for the day anyway, just in case. So I'm like, I don't even know if it's all the same. And I have some really old ones that I did that with, and I have some that I didn't actually save the changes, and then I'd go back and look for something. Oh, I remember writing something, I think I wrote something, I remember something, and I can't for the life of me find it. And now I have like 50 plus of some versions of my book, and it's like, I don't even want to know which version of that information is in which version of which book. I'm like, I don't even want to read all 50 versions to find something, one little thing that I think that I wrote. I'm like, I think if I wrote it, I think I can remember it. Except, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I don't remember how I wrote it. Like, I remember an event or something that I thought was going to happen, and I was like, oh, how did I write that? What did it do? Like, what led up to it? I can't remember the rest of it. It's, it's like remembering the chorus to a song when you can't remember the rest of the song and you just keep repeating the chorus over and over again. But I was like, I want to go find the rest of the song, the rest of the paragraph, the rest of the story, and I have no idea which version of it's in there. So it's like, okay, I guess we're just going to rewrite it and pretend the other version never existed. And lucky for you, when it gets published and you read it, you don't get to see all of my crazy, messy, random versions that I just take pick and choose from and take from this side and that side and mix it all together and be like, voila, it's magic. Frustrated, pulled my hair out, but now we have magic, right? We finally made it work. So I think I'm kind of in the process of trying to figure out how to make it all work, how to put the pieces together, how to figure out how to make it work, because it needs to work. And I know that it can work. I just need to find maybe a different system of how I do things in order to make my writing work, just like I'm going to have to find different systems in my life to figure out how to make things work. And I know that I have ideas, and I know that God is continuing to bless me with ideas and with inspiration as to what I can do to change and what I can do to fix things. And honestly, as oddly as it seems, I think God's version is probably way simpler than what I make things out to be. I think sometimes I make things way more complicated than they have to be, and God just makes it very simple. So I need to maybe figure out how to simplify things in my life a little bit. Not very good at that, honestly. I'm very good at making mountains out of molehills and complicating my life. And like I said, I had different systems all set up and everything was working. And then something about this new year and none of it's working. And I was like, why does everybody have to go? And I was like, oh, we have a new system. We're going to do this now instead of this. And we're going to do this now instead of this. And I was like, I don't know how the new stuff works because there's no instructions to it. In fact, it doesn't even tell you that the old stuff stopped working. You're just getting, things just aren't going through like it was supposed to or like it used to. And it's like, why is this more difficult? Why does this feel more difficult? I don't understand why it feels more difficult. And maybe it's because I'm tired. Maybe it's because I've had a long day. Maybe because it's just interfering with how I normally do things. And so it's like, okay, but I am grateful that somehow I'm having a positive attitude about it. I'm grateful that I can see this as an opportunity to learn new things, to change some things, to revamp some things. And also a realization that God's been trying to get me to do things differently for a while and given me the inspiration, and I'll do it for a day or two and I'm like, yeah, and I go right back to my old habits. So this is just one more of those indications that I need to do things differently, especially when it comes to my writing, because I have all of these great story ideas. I'm daydreaming when I'm off working and doing other things, and then I get home and I'm just exhausted. I'm like, and this is why I need to write before I go to work. And this is why I need to do my video before I go to work so that I'm not at home trying to figure out how to do all of these things. Because then it's like I go to type and my brain is just, I don't process things as well. And when I'm in the middle of having to do different puzzle pieces and try to stick them together to make things work, or I'm reading things and I'm like, this is good and this is good, but they don't go together. They need to go somewhere else. I don't know where they go. And then I just forget what I just read because I'm tired. So I just like, okay. I I looked at a couple of different stories. I found the old document that I had that I typed up something about avoidance and why I avoid things, and I just added something to the bottom of that, typed up something that said, okay, I really need to get a different schedule. I need to have remember that my writing time is my sacred time, that this is also work, and work is sometimes mundane, sometimes, it's not as much fun, but it's totally worth it in the end. So I need to set aside the time and say, this is my time and this is when I need to do this. And I need to stop not necessarily making excuses of being like, oh, I could do it later. I could do it this time, whatever. And because I put it off until later, then it's not as good. I don't have as much time. Or it's really good, but I'm up really late. And then when I go back and reread it, I'm like, it's still really good, but I left out words in the sentence because I was typing too fast, or I wasn't coherent, or it's like I didn't finish this sentence, I didn't finish this thought, and now I don't remember what I was thinking. So those are things I need to work on. And I do like writing, and I am grateful that I've made it all the way to day 79 of my writing, and I'm looking forward to continuing my writing like I've been continuing my gratitudes as I move forward with another 100 days of something. Thinking marketing, not really sure. Brain's not really functioning. Always have ideas of other things that I can do. But we'll see. what happens. I'll figure out what I feel like God wants me to do for the next 100 days, but I still have 21 days to figure that out. So woohoo! I'm gonna I'm gonna see what I can do with my writing in the next 21 days, and hopefully, make things a little bit smoother. But I think that's all I have for tonight. So if you like, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll enjoy my ramblings. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe some writing.